Preamble. Well, hello, it's Deb here. I was going to be joined by Rees this afternoon, and we were going to join you about 20 minutes ago. We had everything set up, everything was ready to go, and the moment we were ready to go live, guess what? It all stopped working. And we are still trying to get Claire back into the live stream. We have so much we want to talk to you about today. Now, we are trying another way of getting Claire into the live stream. And I'm hoping that any minute now, I'm going to get a notification that she is watching live and I can invite her to join the stream that way. Otherwise, you're just going to get me waffling on for however long it takes for the technology to decide to work. But you know what? That's a really good metaphor for life. I've actually got Claire on WhatsApp on the other camera just to the side of me, so I can see what she's doing. You know what? I can yell at her if she does something wrong. This is what our friendship is like. We are absolutely there and have been with each other for 12 years, where we support each other through the good times and the bad. And we've been through one heck of a lot of life, of love, and a lot of laughter as well. Now, Claire, you are not showing up as live. I've got somebody watching me live now. I wonder if that is you. Let's have a look. Let's see what I need to do. Here, hold on a moment. It's telling me. No, Claire, it's saying that you're not watching me live in my own group here. Some friend you are. I'm sure she's doing this just to test me. I'm sure this is her way of just making me go live. I've got a message telling me that Claire is, or somebody is live in the Claire Rees Sweden page and Confident Communications Queen. That's awesome. And if you are not Claire joining me live in either of those locations, then thank you very much for joining us. As I just explained, we were due to go live at 1:30 UK time, or 12:30 UK time, 1:30 Swedish time. And we had everything set up. Everything was working smoothly until we actually hit live. And Roger, it's you. Thank you so much for watching. And all of a sudden we hit live and all the technology failed. Claire is now in Sweden, desperately trying to join this live stream so that she and I can talk to you about all the things we were going to talk about. Otherwise, it's going to be a very one-way conversation. I've got Claire live on WhatsApp. I can see you are here now. Let me see. Let's see. I'm not right. It's giving me the opportunity to block you, Claire. It's not giving me the opportunity to add you to the stream. Maybe it already knows what you are truly like and telling me, for my own protection and own sanity, you do not need to be on this live with me. Don't you just love it when it doesn't work? Let's have a look. It's saying I can show. Right, it's saying I'm here. Right, let me hide that. We all know you're there. But how do I invite you onto? This is bizarre. I could delete the comment and I can block you. It's so tempting. That's all I can say. It's so tempting. Is it still not letting you join me? And for those of you who are watching, I've got another camera just to my right here, and Claire is looking at me on that camera. You can possibly hear her. I don't know what the mic is picking up, but it's now causing great hilarity. We haven't even had wine yet. Can you imagine if we were doing this with a glass of wine as well? That would just be a car crash. It would be a nightmare, more of a car crash than this is. I can promise you this is just tea. I'm British after all. It wouldn't be, life wouldn't be life without a good old cuppa, would it? So, Claire, what are you doing? Are you still on your laptop? And it's not letting you in?
I'm on my laptop and I'm going to try and type.
See if you can join via your phone then.
I'll see if I can. Yeah, let me see if I can do it via my phone. So I'm going to turn you off WhatsApp.
Okay.
Do it both then.
Switch me off. That's fair enough.
Yeah, because if I get onto WhatsApp, then.
You got to love the technology, haven't you? It's all sent to try us, and it's looking like Claire hasn't actually switched me off. She's just paused me. So, Claire, I'm going to switch off and end this call. And if you can hear me, hopefully you're going to be able to rejoin. I'm sure at some point in a moment, I'm going to get Claire pop up on my screen in the StreamYard studio or on my phone. And we'll find out what on earth is going on there. It's good to see. I can see we have people joining us. Please bear with us. This was all working so perfectly when we tried it. And now, of course, we have an audience and it's not working. This is why I love live theatre, actually. That's my passion. When I do events, I love a live audience. You never quite know what's going to happen. It looks like Claire is here. Now, Claire, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, this is just fantastic. Here we are.
That was just testing me, wasn't it? It was just a test to see how calm I can remain under pressure with I don't know how many people joining us live. It is saying we now have 2 people live. It's only taken the best part of 25 minutes to get to this stage.
To get to that stage.
And all of that. Yes, she's finally here. Facebook user, please give StreamYard permission to access your profile. It doesn't go in and do anything. It just means we can see who you are when you make a comment rather than just referring to you as Facebook user. So thank you so much. Claire, do you want to introduce yourself? This was all your brainchild. We were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago via Zoom, cup of tea, and just generally putting the world to rights. And you said, you know what we should do? And I said, really? You've got to be mad. But as friends I want to do, when Claire and I first met 12 weeks ago, I recall that I was the one that led her astray. Ever since then, she has been
12 weeks ago, 12 years ago. 12 years.
Yes, I led you astray 12 years ago. But since then, you've been making up for that and you have been leading me astray. This is one of those moments. So, Claire, it's over to you because this was all your idea. So
it is my idea. And I just think it's just something that I've always wanted to do. And I listen to podcasts and we listen to videos and we listen to so many. And, you know, sometimes they are, even though subjects are serious, I am one of these people that I just think, yeah, we have got serious, but we have to have fun. Okay. So even though let's not take life too seriously. I wanted to create a podcast. I wanted to create a YouTube channel. I wanted to create something that was fun, but with a serious slant on it. And that's what we do. And yeah, you did lead me astray 12 years ago. And so we talk quite a lot, weekly.
Yeah, and the rest.
And I was just thinking, well, who best to do something like this with is Deb Morgan. Yes. We bounce off each other, you know. And when one person is struggling, like I was struggling to come on, you're keeping everything going, and vice versa. And Roger's just said, "Welcome, Claire." And Roger's most probably one of your raving fans, Deb. He's one of your raving fans.
He is indeed local to me as well, down here in Western-super-Mare. And Roger is amazing. He's known as the car finder. So if you're looking for a car, I'm guessing just UK based, but Roger, it might be wrong. You know, you might be international because Claire's in Sweden. If you're looking for a car, you ring Roger, you say to him, this is what I'm after. This is my budget. Can you find it? And he does. And he travels the country to find you the car that you want. And very often he posts in his Facebook and everywhere else that he's lost. And we have a little competition as to where he is.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous. And you know what? Cars are, sorry, Roger, but I have a hate relationship with them, not a love-hate relationship. You know, I don't even want to put fuel in. Who wants to put fuel in their cars these days?
Moment, that's true.
Flipping heck. And before that, I didn't want to put fuel in, but now I have to put, well, no, I haven't put fuel in for a long time. That is the husband's job. Sorry. In our house, we have blue jobs and pink jobs, and that's one of his jobs. We really do. We really do.
Word.
We have blue jobs and pink jobs. Hmm?
So tell me more about that. You never told me that before. And I've seen him in the kitchen with his rubber gloves on.
I know. He does. And I'm trying to think where it actually came from. I think what it was it started off as a joke. It really started off as a joke, you know, and I was trying to get my own way. Okay. So I manipulated it. So I decided, I'm going to have these rules. So I'm going to have these rules of blue jobs for boys and pink jobs for girls. And, you know, girls don't do that, and using all that rubbish. And it actually something that escalated, and it's become quite serious in our Roger just said, oh my God, pink jobs and blue jobs. But it is quite it's quite a like these subjects, like all subjects, it's become a fun rule in our house. So it's just like these are my roles, these are your roles, and we have decided what are my roles and what are his roles, you know. And we are a traditional couple. We are a very traditional couple, you know, and we have got man jobs and women's jobs, and that's how we like it, and that's how it works for us. And the funniest thing though is that the pink job makes up all the rules. That is written. That's the first
Okay.
that's number one. You know, and it's just like it just works for us. It's just something that we found, started off as a joke, and it actually works for us. So for me, it's like, you know, I don't expect Richard to clean in the house at all. I expected to put away after him. But then my rule is that don't expect me to put fuel in the car and clean the car. So that's the blue jobs and the pink jobs. And it's down to what our preferences are.
Mm.
You
And
know, I don't
actually,
like the cars and he doesn't like
well,
cleaning. So, and I prefer to clean than in the car. So it just works, you know.
and
So that's there,
joking
pink jobs and
aside,
blue jobs.
I mean, that's really, really good, because what you've inadvertently done, you've had a bit of a joke in the early days of your relationship, but it's enabled you to set clear boundaries and define your
Yes.
roles within the relationship. So it actually stops arguments
Yeah.
further down the line. Now, I'm going to say stops arguments. I'm going to use that term very loosely because I'm sure arguments still happen. They do with us. But, you know, we have very clearly defined roles here as well.
Yeah.
You know, I do all the cooking, not because I have to, but because I enjoy cooking. It's one way I relax. Floss will do the cooking, and he's quite a good cook, but he
Mm.
doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense for me to do the cooking, but then he'll always wash the dishes, for example.
Exactly.
So it works that way. I hate doing all the pots and pans, and there are some days, if he's really annoyed me, I'll make sure I use every single pot and pan in the house. But, you know, that's by the by. So you create these roles
Yeah.
and these jobs that work for both of you. Equally, he doesn't like gardening. I love pottering on the garden, but he will do any sort of heavy manual work on
Yeah.
the garden that I might need a hand with. Things like removing tree stumps that I don't quite have the strength to do myself. I
Yeah.
could hire someone in, or I could hire a piece of machinery, or he'll just come in and he'll, you know, go straight into it and sort it out for me half the time before I've even noticed.
Yeah.
So we've got that good swap. Cars, he'll always service my car for me. I don't even have to think about it. I can't tell you when my service is due, can barely remember when the MOT is due, because he puts all that stuff on a spreadsheet. And that's fine, because I'm like, look, the car just gets me from A to B. It doesn't really matter. I'm not into cars particularly, as long as they're red.
Yeah.
That's always been my
Red.
criteria. As long as the car is red.
Roger's quite funny because he said, sounds like pink bias to me. It is,
Yeah,
Roger, you know, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It is pink bias, right? You haven't
absolutely.
met
And
my
yeah,
husband, but
you
it
don't have
is.
those problems.
No, and he's single, he doesn't have these problems. But then, you know, being single, then you've got, do you know what? Being single, you've got to do it all then, haven't you? You know,
Exactly.
so it's
Exactly.
like you can create your own pink jobs and blue jobs. You can argue with yourself about who's going to do what, Roger.
But equally as well, it helps you to, you know, if you're single and you have jobs you really like doing, jobs you don't like doing, if you choose to go into another relationship, you actually know what your preferences are before you even start. So it's a really
Yeah,
good opportunity to sort of work on yourself and ascertain what works for you. And
yeah,
I mean, I say it to all my clients, and this wasn't going to be a pitch. It's not a pitch. I'm sharing some useful information here, but I say to all my clients, work out what you like to do, what you don't like to do. Work out, you know, if your partner likes the other things, the things you don't like to do, get your partner to do those. And if there's things that both of you don't like doing, can you pay for somebody to come and help you do those? You know, that's
yeah,
one way of doing it. But equally, when you're single, if you are looking for a relationship, make a list of everything you want in a future partner. And it can sound quite prescriptive, but it's like making a shopping list. And genuinely, that is what I did when Floss and I met. I used to say, before we got together, and we had dated 15 years prior to getting together, well, I used to say, I just need somebody like Floss. But actually what I wanted was floss. So
Floss,
the other
yeah.
people never quite added up to what I was looking for in a partner.
Mm.
Floss came into my life again. It's like, right, every box is ticked. That's not to say that we have the perfect relationship. And boy, when we argue, do we argue? But equally, for the most part, our relationship is absolutely spot on because we've both been so open with what we like and don't like across all areas of our relationship. And what we will and won't do in terms of the house, in terms of everything else, and where we both stand. So we know in terms of equality, how we feel equal in the relationship. And it's just been a lot of hard work to get to that stage, but we know what it is. But it started with me making my shopping list. But equally, he, unbeknown to me at the time, he had gone out looking for another Deb.
Oh, that's amazing. That's, do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what? That is what I see as romantic. Flowers and, they are nice gestures, aren't they? But that's real romance. When, you're looking for, you're going out there and you're looking for each other. And I just think what you're actually, the whole thing here, and this has been the whole of my month of talking about things, is communication as well. And these are some of the things that I advocate as well, is looking deep into yourself of what you actually want and who you are and what you're actually, so not like or what you want. That sounds a bit like what sort of man I want, but it's like your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you are prepared to put up with and what you're prepared not to put up with, and how you communicate with each other. Because when communication stops, that's when relationships can stop. And it doesn't mean partner relationships. It can mean relationships in work. It can mean family relationships. It can mean partner relationship, friend relationships. Communication and figuring out what your strengths are is something that for us to actually deep dive into, can open up the world for us, don't you think?
Exactly. And, it's really important as well in that shopping list that it's not full of material items, because on the face of it, when you meet somebody, it's great if they've got a big house, nice car, dressed nicely, great salary, great job. But what happens when you lose all that?
Yeah.
And so many of us in the past few years have been through that. I mean, I know from our point of view, our household income reduced to 12.5% of what it had been pre-COVID. Things were tight. Things were tight. And we were having to make some really difficult decisions. Now, if our relationship had been based on the amount of money either one of us was bringing in, the sort of cars we were driving, the clothes we were wearing, where we were able to go out and eat, the house we lived in, that would have been really detrimental to our relationship. But because the relationship was built on shared values, shared principles, and shared morals and ethics, then actually we were able to work through that. We were able to have those conversations. We were able to say, right, okay, right now, this is where we're at. And, it was causing problem. At one point, Floss was earning in a really low paid job. I wasn't earning anything at all. Then that switched. And there was never any argument over, well, I'm bringing this in. Why aren't you bringing in the same? And I'm bringing this amount in. So you're still going to be liable for your half of the bills and this, that, and the other. It was very much, we're a partnership, and you take the rough with the smooth. And, the same goes, going back to what we were first talking about, with the jobs that you like and dislike. You take the rough with the smooth. You have the conversation around what you like, what you don't like, what you're prepared to do and not do. I mean, certainly, if he wasn't well, if he wasn't here for whatever reason, then of course I'll do the dishes. Of course I'll do the manual labor in the garden. He vacuums and cleans all the floors. I do the rest of the housework. So it's little things like that. He doesn't like the fact that I don't iron properly. He's an ex-Marine, so he's very particular about
What's
ironing.
an iron?
So he chooses for me not to iron his clothes. He doesn't iron them either. But he says, no, don't iron my clothes. And I think, well, fine. If you're going to complain about it, I'm not ironing them.
No.
So we have those little compromises as well. And it makes such a difference to the relationship. The expectation has been managed because I'm not there thinking he expects me to do the ironing. And he's not there thinking she's done the ironing, but she's done it wrong again.
And I think as well, it's just like I remember actually Richard's mother saying to me when she first met his dad, and she was saying about he used to go in the fridge, and he would take out a can or he used to go in the fridge or cupboard anyway, and he'd open a can of baked beans when he came in from work, and he'd just eat a can of baked beans.
Oh,
I know. But then that's when she said how she realized, that everybody's different as well. And what you are actually prepared to actually deal with, and what you're actually, and when we come together, I said this the other day, and I can't remember where we said it. When we come together, we are bringing a lot of experiences and a lot of other skills and thoughts and other things as a group. So even you and I, Deb, in our relationship that we've got over the last 12 years, we've brought in different aspects, and you've taught me things, and I hope that I've taught you things as well.
one or two.
And one or two things. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. And we're bringing in different aspects of lives. And everybody's got a different idea, haven't they, of what is supposed to happen. And you know what? One of the words, that I cannot stand. And you know what word? Can you remember what word? I cannot stand. I say it myself, and I really correct myself. Cannot stand is should.
Should.
Oh, and one of our members in Conflict Communications Quiz, she says, don't should all over yourself. I love that saying.
That's brilliant. I love that. Don't should
And
all
I think
over
when you're
yourself.
in any relationship, and she says, don't should all over yourself. And I think in any relationship, we have these shoulds put on us of how a couple should actually be. Oh, you wrote that. It went on all the channels then.
It did as well, didn't it?
That was really good. Don't should all over yourself. And I just lost my trail of thought then. But it's like, what was I saying?
Don't should all over yourself. You don't like should.
Yeah, I don't like should, and it's that's right. And then whatever type of relationship that you are in, it's society expects a lot. And we were talking about this the other day, about a subject. I'm not going to mention the subject because it's a sensitive one. But you were actually saying that when you're out there and when you're doing research on different things and different subjects, that everybody's got an opinion, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we use words very loosely. Sometimes we title people very loosely. And we put in a lot of expectation on people. And for me, over the last few years, it's actually been learning, like we say, my strengths, my weaknesses, who Claire Rees Sweden is, and what I expect from other people. And that's not like a demanding thing. That's like, what do I expect my network to be like, so that I can give the best of me?
Exactly.
And that's the same it's like in any relationship. So even in, the relationship with my husband, is that I've started, when I communicate with him and I say, well, that makes me anxious, or that makes me feel sad, or that makes me feel, happy. And I'm communicating with him and he's understanding, and he's like, oh, right, okay, well, I won't do that again, or I will do that again. So it's all about that communication. And society puts all these pressures on it, especially as couples. We have them, don't we, on social media, on the TV, on magazines, how couples should be. And a lot of it, correct me if I'm wrong, is materialistic.
Very materialistic. And it's that Hollywood version of perfect and what couples should be like. And I have this conversation pretty much, I would say nearly every single day of the week with somebody or other. And I was having this conversation last night in an interview I was doing. And they said, oh, but my relationship should be like this. And I said, why? Because as far as I'm concerned, I've got the perfect relationship. And I'm sure as far as you're concerned, you've got the perfect relationship.
Yeah.
Yet, I don't think I could step into your shoes and feel I was in the perfect relationship. And equally, you probably couldn't step into my shoes and feel you were in the perfect relationship, because what's perfect is what's perfect for us, not what's perfect for everybody else. And it might be when you're making your list of your perfect partner, you want them to be really into model trains, for example. Now, that wouldn't float my boat, but might float somebody else. They might want somebody that can knit them homemade cardigans.
Yeah.
Then I'm not the right person for that,
No, don't expect that from me.
And I can knit, but I won't be knitting you a cardigan anytime soon. So,
and I won't be knitting it for you to wear either.
Exactly. But it's about managing those expectations. And it's pointless saying, if you absolutely don't like people who play tennis every weekend because you're just not into tennis, don't go after somebody who plays tennis every weekend and is likely to be off at tournaments and matches, or somebody
exactly. And it's so many relationships that have broken down because when they meet that person is, for example, a tennis player, and
Roger,
then when they get
model
married,
trains. Perfect.
Sorry?
Roger's just said he likes model trains. That's why Roger and I would be hopeless together. I'm not into model trains. But Roger, there is somebody out there for you.
There is somebody out there, Roger, who likes model trains, definitely.
Exactly.
And do you know what? My father-in-law loves steam trains, and he's got magazines, and he loves photography as well, And it's so cute. He's got his books out, and I've got a book by here actually. He's given me. So
I can remember growing up, and my cousins had this amazing train set, and they had it. The garage at the end of their driveway had been converted into a sort of shed, and they could access it from the back garden. And they had their model trains that set up in the shed, in the garage. And you had to crawl underneath, and there was a hole in the middle. You stood up, and there was this whole town all around. As a kid, I must have been probably from the ages of about 5 to maybe 8 or 9. And we'd go and visit. I said, can we play with the trains? Can we play with the trains? Because I just loved watching them go around. Yeah. It was incredible, this massive train set.
I'm actually with you on that. I get that. But it's the actual making of it. But that's me knowing myself.
Roger says he's not.
But I'm not into blokes, Claire. The other way around.
But you might find a woman into model trains.
Well, for me as well, is that Richard loves fishing, right? And ice fishing. Now, I find that quite boring. I find it boring to stand there with a flipping little fishing rod like this, and it's called pimple fishing. But what I love doing, and this is where the compromise can happen, isn't it, Deb, is that it has to be a nice day though, taking a little chair down, taking my book, having a fire, and just sitting there while he's fishing, and then I can read a book, or I can just chill out and do my own thing. But we are still doing things together, but separate. We're doing separate things. And that's the same maybe with like model trains. Like for me, I'm with you. I love seeing them go around, but actually to build them, I wouldn't have the patience for that. And I haven't got the patience for the middle bits of things. I like to have a project, and I like to have the project finished. So I want somebody in the middle then to fix it all for me, That's one of my weaknesses, is that the middle bit is a struggle for me. But yeah, and Roger prefers steam trains as well.
And it is lovely. I mean, I like to ride on a steam train, and close to where I am in Somerset, Roger will know this. There's a lovely sort of steam train centre, and you can book to go on the steam trains, and you can have lunch or dinner, and they do a great one at Christmas time, which I was actually contemplating booking to take my parents on this year. But
that'd be lovely.
Things like that, we all have the enjoyment out of them, and I like to do that perhaps once a year. But if I was losing my partner every weekend to model trains, for example, I might get a little bit peed off. Whereas I'm lucky, Floss, as you know, is an international mountain leader. He's always outdoors. Keeping him in for more than 24 hours is the problem. apart from when I was organising his surprise.
I was just going to
birthday
say, apart
party,
from on
and
Sunday,
he refused to go out.
he knew something was going
Almost
on. He
ended in
knew.
divorce. However, I managed to get him out eventually so I could set things up. But
Yeah.
you know, he'll go out, and I enjoy walking, but I'll compromise that. He likes to yomp for 20 miles at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't mind doing that. If the objective is just to get 20 miles done, we'll get 20 miles done.
Yeah.
But if we're going out for a walk, actually, I want to enjoy the view. I want to explore things. I've got a diploma in countryside management, so I like to look at the nature, the flora and the fauna. I'm a bit of a flora and fauna geek. So I like to look
you know
at
what?
the
You and
lichens
Richard
and the
would actually be out
mosses.
for hours and hours and hours.
Absolutely.
That's what he loves doing as well. And that's the thing as well, is like when me and Richard first met, I used to get really annoyed because I love going to a coffee shop and having a cake and a coffee. And I remember the first time I said to him, I'd like to go to have a cake and a coffee. And he went, what do you want to do that for?
Yeah, see,
What's
I'm
the
with him
point
on
in that? And I'm like, you don't get it? I thought everybody got a cake and a coffee. I love going to a coffee shop and I love having a piece of cake and I just love that quaintness. He does not get that at all. So, you know, I've had to sort of give up on that one with Richard, but obviously I'm going to do it with friends. I'm going to do it with somebody else, aren't I? Not another
No, I
man,
don't get
but
the
you know what I
coffee
mean?
shops because I'm not a coffee drinker. You know,
Yeah,
I go into a coffee shop and I order an oat milk decaf.
yeah,
Whatever it might be. And it's kind of, is it really worth even having coffee? But
yeah,
I enjoy tea and I drink lots of herbal tea. So I'll
yeah,
love to go to a tea room, get a nice
yeah.
teapot, bone china cup,
Yeah,
and sit like
I love
that.
that.
Only though if they do gluten-free cakes, because as you know, I've got lots of food allergies.
Yeah,
So Floss and I've been known at the end of a walk, we sort of always make sure a walk either ends in a pub or in a tea room.
mm,
And if tea room doesn't do gluten-free
mm,
cake, that's it. We got to find somewhere else quick. Otherwise, we don't have our traditional end of walk thing,
yeah,
which is either a pint for him and a glass of wine and a pack of crisps,
yeah.
or it's a tea or coffee and a cake. And if he can have cake but I can't, you can imagine it's not good.
That's war then, isn't it?
Yeah,
That is war.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
curtains then. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
But
has to be.
these
Yeah, it
little
has to be. And
things.
like Richard likes to go to, he has to go to a pub. Then I'm quite happy with a with a coffee shop. But it's these compromises that we actually find over the years that will actually work for you. And at the end of the day, it's that again, we're boiling it down to communication
Exactly.
and not being offended and understanding how that other person is thinking and feeling. And like you said, Deb, this is your life, you live. I love what was it was Snoopy. I know, but Snoopy said, um you haven't got one life, you live every day and you die once, so
Yes.
do the best every day of what you can do, and looking after yourself and understanding yourself can help you push yourself forward so much, like a steam train, Roger, like a steam train on that track, so much more than if you're running around trying to please people, if you're a people pleaser. And I've done it all, and I think
Mm-hmm.
most of us has tried to
Yes,
please
absolutely.
people. And the biggest problem with trying to please people is you're not going to please everybody and you're going to upset somebody at some point, because not everybody is going to be happy with what you've done. So number one is yourself, is looking after yourself and making sure you know yourself well enough that you can communicate in a really good, respectful way to get what you want out of relationships, good and bad. Sometimes there's another saying I love is people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a
Oh,
lifetime.
absolutely.
And each time they come in, they're going to teach us something. And when they teach us something, it's not about being that victim, poor me, this has happened. It's about saying, right, okay, that person's taught me this, and I have learned this, and I'm going to take it forward. So we all need to, we all change at some point because of the lessons that we've learned through life. And we've all had different life lessons.
Exactly.
wow, am I
all
getting
grow and
serious here? You
evolve,
know,
don't
but
we?
you know,
We
it's
are.
from what we've actually happened to us in our lives from A to B, from A to where we are now, you know, that determines the people that we are now as well. And it's, for me, I like to evaluate. I like to evaluate situations, and oh, that's, you know, and then I'll think, well, that's not going to happen to me again because I didn't like it, and I've learned this, and next time I'll do this. So I always like to evaluate things, and so I can push myself forward. And that's where you see, I don't know whether you see it, like we are doing a little, you know, we are here as coaches, you know, Deb, and you know, when you see your clients doing the same thing over and over and again, it's trying to help them to evaluate so they can push themselves forward. And one of the things I think is really frustrating for me is that when I can see somebody and I'm like, I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this. You know, I can help you, but you can't. People have to help themselves. You can only, it's that other saying. I love my sayings, don't I? You know, you can give a man a fish and you can feed him for a day, but teach a man to fish and you will feed him for a
Exactly.
lifetime. So
Exactly.
we're teaching our clients how to fish.
Absolutely. And of course, it's our job as coaches to actually facilitate that
Yeah,
growth and that learning, because, you know, if we do it for them, tell them what to do,
yeah,
the learning and the growth isn't the same. And, you know, we've learned and grown from our own life experiences, and they were sent to us for a reason.
yeah,
And, you know, it's very often we'll meet people and think, how on earth can you get through that? But actually, growth and learning is a process. It's a similar process for all of us. What
mm,
changes is our experiences that enable us to learn and grow.
yeah,
And, you know, you do what you do as a result of your growth and learning over your life. Equally, that's why I do what I do.
yeah,
And it makes such difference. And to be able to share some of that learning, some of that growth with
yeah,
our clients, with people who perhaps are watching us now, it's absolutely incredible. And, you know, I know you and I are very similar in that respect. And it's about making the world a better place, one person at a time, ultimately, is what it boils down to. We
yeah,
both sort of come to that from slightly different angles. We both come to that with different experiences and learning. But the goal ultimately, and I think that's probably the same for most coaches, most people who help others, it's because we want to make the world a better place. We want people to have better lives. And we all go through adversity. That's part of the human condition. We
yeah,
all have up days and down days. That's a normal part of the human condition. We
mm,
are not meant to be living every day up here. You know, our lives should be going on a nice sort of angle, nice trajectory like that, up and down, where
mm-hmm,
things, some days we might be a little bit sad, some days we might be a bit more happy. It's when we've got the extremes, that's what causes the problem. And if our extreme is always down here,
yeah,
then we need to do something about that. But equally, if our extreme is always up here, when we get to that middle ground, we think we're depressed because we've never experienced that middle ground. I mean, I used to work in a school, and very often the kids would come in and say, oh, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm
oh, I know,
stressed. And they weren't at all. It was just they had never known what it was like to be in that middle ground, because their
mm,
parents had, and for the most part, communities had always ensured they were always up. They were always happy. Got to keep the kids happy. Got to keep the kids happy. Got to keep them entertained.
oh, I know,
So they didn't know how to be
yeah,
bored. They didn't know how to deal with perhaps lower moods. And these are a normal part of life. It's only when they hang around for a long time that they are
yeah,
abnormal and they need to be addressed. But we were forgetting that. So it was really interesting when the kids realized that, okay, it's okay, I don't have to be up here all the time. It's okay if my life sort of coasts along here for a little while, and then every so often there's a spike either way. That's normal. And it's little things like that that it does us good. It serves us to remember, because I don't know about you, but there are times where I've thought there's got to be something wrong with me. There's absolutely got to be something
every
wrong with me,
single day.
because something is maybe not going right in my life, but it's going right for everybody else on social media, because of course they've all got the perfect life.
Oh, put in the comments, anybody's here, and if you're watching this on replay, put hashtag replay, and it's just like, how many people think there's something wrong with them? You know, and for we all
everybody
think
else
that.
has the perfect life.
What are we doing wrong? And this is the thing about Facebook, and I know we're streaming on social media by here as well, but everything on Facebook, and this is one of the things that I want to do with these talks as well. And right now we're looking at maybe doing them once a month or every other week, or we haven't decided yet. This is the first time we're doing it, but this is not going to be the last. And I think after this, then we'll have a little discussion on how it went, and then see when we're going to actually send them out, not record them, put them on a live. But then it's everybody's life on social media, is perfect, and we think that that's how our lives should actually be. And I can I just say, I'm sorry, I've had to put my camera down. My arm was shaking holding it. And I don't like actually doing this because it just looks silly, but my arm was shaking, so I've had to put the camera down.
That's absolutely fine. And to pick up on what you were just saying, everybody seems to have the perfect life.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog about that recently, and I think I put it out as a post as well. Was I was at one point, people looking in thought I had the perfect life. I had the perfect marriage, the perfect car, the perfect house, the perfect business. But actually, what they didn't know was behind the mask I was wearing every day, I was in an abusive relationship. I was desperately unhappy. I was self-medicating with way too much wine back then. I was really, really practicing some unhealthy practices, all because I was desperately unhappy. And yet everybody looking in thought I had the perfect life. People aspired to be me. Now, I acknowledge I had a lovely house. I had a fabulous son. I still got a fabulous son. I had a nice car. I had a great wardrobe. My business was doing well.
Yeah.
But underlying all that was an abusive relationship that people didn't see, because outwardly they saw what was deemed the perfect married couple. He was the stereotypical tall, dark and handsome man, and he knew enough to say the right things in public.
Yeah.
So people never believed what was going on, and he dropped enough hints so people thought that if I said anything detrimental,
that it was your fault.
Problem. It was my fault.
Yeah.
And we never know truly what is going on. We say we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You don't know what is going on in somebody's life just by looking at them, just by getting a snapshot that they have perhaps set up for social media, that you get as you pass them in the street, that you get as you see them in their fancy car, at the nice restaurant, in those nice clothes. You have no idea what is really, really going on. And it was vitally important for both Claire and I that these talks, we didn't have them scripted. We had a vague idea of what we might say. We've gone completely off script now.
I was just going to say, what we were supposed to be talking about hasn't happened, but that's for another time anyway, so that's fine.
But our goal was to make these real, honest conversations that flow, and they happen spontaneously. We scheduled them for lunchtime so that if you are watching us at lunchtime, you can kick back a bit. Not everything has to be about how to improve your life, how to improve your business, how to hit 10K in 1 month or next week. It doesn't all have to be about that. We all have perfect lives, and in having a perfect life, they are all perfectly imperfect at the same time. And it was so important that we just came live and we were just ourselves, two friends having a chat, almost as if we'd been overheard in a coffee shop, in a pub, out for a walk, wherever it might be. And that's
you hit that nail on the head there, Debs. I totally agree with you, and it is. And if anybody wants to cover anything, any subjects with us, then just send us a message, and we'll try and stay on script, but I doubt that'll happen. But it is, isn't it? It's about normalizing the abnormal, normalizing the abnormal. And for me, my why as well is that when I felt as if I should do something, and that anxiety inside me because I shouldn't be doing this, I should be doing something else another way because it's other people's expectations. My biggest why is I don't want anybody to feel like that way. I want other people to realize that what they are doing is absolutely fine in their life, and it might not float everybody's boat. but that's okay too. You know, we
Exactly.
concentrate so much on pleasing everybody, and we go back to that pleasing everybody and making sure that you know, that we trying to hit other people's expectations, that we're forgetting about ourselves. And that's a huge quite a lot of problems in mental health, and in a lot of my groups as well. You know, the confidence and the worry that people are actually voicing to me as well, that they're worried about what people think, and they're not confident to say what they're thinking because they're worried about this and they're worried about that. But when you actually look at it, the people who are out there with the biggest voice are actually got, you know, if you're a business person, have got the biggest followers. There is this one guy on social media, and I absolutely, oh, Roger's back. He's been for a cuppa, he has, and he's come back. There's this one guy on Facebook, and honestly, he does not hold back. And I absolutely love what he writes on Facebook, because what he wrote this morning, he was right. What's the chances of me doing a sentence without me saying an F word all day? And it was like, no chance at all, and I don't give a step, you know, that sort of mentality. And he's not, for me, he's not offensive to me. He's like, he's living his own life the best way that he can, and good on him, fantastic, makes me smile anyway, so with his comments. So that's fabulous. And you know, if people don't like it, then don't follow him, and you don't have to be in that network if you don't like it either, do you? I'm going to leave it on this one. You know, one of my pet hates is when you see somebody succeeding and other people put them down. I can't. Oh, you know, or when somebody puts a comment on Facebook or anything, and then they have to write something in there, and that's really sort of negative. It's like, what's the point in that? What was that achieved?
Exactly.
You know,
it says more about them anyway. Far more.
It does say more about them. Anyway, Des, we said 45 minutes. We're now on 47 minutes.
Yes. So
we will put something out there for our next chat with Life, Love and Laughter with Debs and Claire. I've really enjoyed this today, even though we had a bit of a hiccup at the beginning, but c'est la vie. That happens, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Claire, tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh yeah, because some of them are on your social media, aren't they? Well, if you go over to Claire Rees Sweden, that's my page. You can follow me on there. I'm actually streaming this from my YouTube channel, Claire Rees Sweden, LinkedIn, Claire Rees Sweden. And also, for those of you who are on Deb's social media and on Deb's followers, you know, I actually run a dog sledding company alongside my husband here in Sweden. So for those who don't know me, I emigrated from Wales to Sweden, and I run dogs. So in the winter time, I am in the Swedish Arctic, just 15 hours from the Arctic Circle, but you know, c'est la vie. And yeah, we run dogs. So that's Wild Spirit dog sledding, so you'll see a lot of information there about us. So, and Debs, for my followers,
yes,
who are you?
Can find me across all social media as Deb Morgan Coach. I have a Facebook page called Not a Rehearsal, because life's not a rehearsal, and we need to live life as if we are front and center stage. So that's where that comes from, my love and passion for acting, which we might talk about some other time. But across all social media, you'll find me as Deb Morgan Coach, and join me in my Facebook group, Real Women, Real Life, Real Relationships. Sorry, Roger, it's a woman only group, but maybe one day I'll set up a men only group as well. Who knows? If the demand is there, I will do it. In the meantime, thank you to those of you who have joined us. We've had a blast. We've overcome the technology issues. How on earth we ended up talking about steam trains, pink and blue jobs, and everything else.
This is what I want to see. This is how random it is.
We've kept Claire happy. That's the important thing. She's led me astray. We'll catch up with you again soon. We will put some dates up to say when we are next going live. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care.
Lots of love, everybody. Bye.
Bye.